Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Governor's State Employee Medal of Valor Awards ceremony. As we get started, yes, you can clap. Absolutely. It is a privilege for me to be here today at this ceremony as we acknowledge these brave actions and services to the people of California. And would you all please stand for the CHP Color Guard, Officer John Pope, Noah Watkins, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem sung by the CHP Associate Government Program Analyst, Anna Afonso. With that, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic to which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our national anthem. Thank you, CHP Color Guard. Now it's yes, let's give them a round of applause as well. And I would also like to acknowledge our Cabinet Secretary, Ann Pattersons. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our host, California Highway Patrol Commissioner Sean DeRee.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Secretary Tong. Welcome to the CHP Academy. We are honored and proud to host this event, the first since 2019 in person. For members of the Highway Patrol, the Academy is a special place. This is where it all begins. Cadets live here. Right now, it's 26 weeks of training. They sweat here a lot on this gym floor. They cry and laugh, and most importantly, they lay a foundation of public service. In the middle of the gym floor is the CHP badge and a characteristic or quality that attributed to each point of the badge. Qualities like integrity, courtesy, and honor are some of those characteristics. These are the same characteristics displayed by each of the honorees here today. And while we are gathered to acknowledge their heroism and selflessness displayed by you, I want to pause just to recognize the family members and the friends and the loved ones of these recipients, because we all know without their unrelenting support, it wouldn't be possible. These incidents that we'll hear about can have a long-lasting physical or mental effect on the employees, but I'm confident that each of you have a support system that's here that'll play a role in getting you to this moment and into the future. This is why they, your loved ones, share in this recognition. So let's pause and give them a round of applause too. Although every recipient here today is from throughout the state of California, each of them shared the same level of decisiveness and peace of mind when they chose to save or protect the life of another human being. They all answered the call of duty and demonstrated unparalleled heroism in service to the people of our communities. They faced imminent and life-threatening peril and displayed the quintessential quality of a public servant: courage. Each of you witnessed a situation where there was an immediate need to respond. You knew your life-saving actions would likely expose you to possibility of serious injury or even death. Despite this risk, you decided there was no other option. Without concern for yourself, you made the conscious decision to act. These actions performed by each of you here reflect who you really are as a person. You're honorable, you are courageous, and you are selfless, characteristics that exemplify the highest standards of public service. We are proud to be here with you today. I'm proud to stand before you and congratulate each of you for your heroism, which of you brought honor and distinction to this great state, the state of California. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dury. Everyone, it is my honor to introduce Cabinet Secretary Ann Patterson.
Thank you so much, Amy. And thank you. I just want to start by thanking all the folks who worked really hard to put today on for the first time in a few years so we could all celebrate these amazing individuals and their acts of courage in person this year. So thank you, Amy, and your team for that. I am so grateful for the privilege to be here today and to honor and celebrate the 2023 Medal of Valor recipients. The stories of heroism that I got to read in preparation for coming today truly gave me chills. It really is an exceptional demonstration of courage and selflessness, and really made me deeply, deeply proud to be a Californian and to also share the title of public servant to the state of California. So thank you deeply for what you did on behalf of the people of California and the people that you saved and protected. I also want to say that each and every day throughout California, brave men and women at CAL FIRE, CDCR, California Highway Patrol, Caltrans, and throughout many departments in the state of California, they perform smaller acts of heroism, but heroism nonetheless, to save another life, to protect property, to prevent injury, to protect a community from danger. And much of that work is done outside of the headlines and without a lot of acknowledgement. So as we have this opportunity today to celebrate these 23 people who stood up and performed exceptional acts of courage, I'd like also to use it as an opportunity for all of us to remember the incredible work that is done by our colleagues every day, work that can put their lives at risk, work that takes them away from family and friends. And so thank you so much to not just the 23, I really appreciate all that you did, and also to the many, many people who also serve the state of California every day. So thank you, everyone. I know you don't want to hear so much from me as you do from my boss and the governor of the state of California, so I think he is next. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's Governor Gavin Newsom here, and it's an honor to recognize heroes that we're all lucky to serve alongside, to award the Governor's State Employee Medal of Valor Award. And we have over 200,000 state employees, and each and every one of them is vital to keeping our state running. But today, we have the privilege of honoring, recognizing 23 public servants who went much further, who put their lives on the line to save others. These are the people who walked towards danger, towards a shooting at a Walmart, towards a car going 90 to 100 miles per hour in the wrong direction, towards fires to save people trapped in their vehicles. The people we honor tonight were not oblivious to the dangers they faced, but the risk to themselves was of less consideration to them than the lives and the livelihoods of others. That is the definition of courage. That is the definition of valor. That is being a Californian. And that's the kind of wholehearted empathy and relentless bravery that we all hope we can achieve in our own lives. To the 23 of you who put service above safety, we say thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your example. And thank you to the families of these heroes for sharing them with us.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary Patterson, and the message from the governor. And please now help me welcome our first citation reader as we begin the presentation of the medals. Secretary Omasakin.
After that description of courage from Governor Newsom, I almost don't want to say anything to mess anything up because he said that perfectly. Good afternoon, everybody. I am very proud to be a part of today's ceremony as we honor our state heroes. But before I get to our first department, I want to thank several people who were not expecting me to thank them, but Secretary Tung has been very passionate about this recognition since she's taken over as Secretary of GovOps. So give Secretary Tung a hand. We've been congratulating and thanking everybody else. Thank you for your leadership, Secretary Tung, and Secretary Patterson from the Governor's Office representing the Governor today. Thank you as well for all your leadership in supporting the leadership of the state, the secretaries and the directors of the state. And to our host as well, Commissioner Dury, thank you very much for hosting us and your team as well for all the sacrifice that they truly put on every day and put in their lives on the line. Please give them a hand, all three of them a hand. So, the first department that I am going to have the great honor of recognizing the employees from is the California Department of Transportation, or more commonly known as, Caltrans. And assisting me on the stage today is a colleague of mine for the last nearly 4 years, Director Tony Tavares. Please give him a hand, Tony. So, the first citation for a heroic service performed by Cody Collins, Caltrans Maintenance Area Superintendent, and Jeffrey Scardine, Transportation Engineering Technician, California Department of Transportation. On October 6, 2022, Caltrans Maintenance Area Superintendent Cody Collins and Transportation Engineering Technician Jeffrey Scardine were performing their duties as instructors at the Caltrans bank scaling and rock climbing course located near Kingville, California. At approximately 1 p.m., they were alerted by the lead instructor of an emergency involving a student climber, Kevin Lassiter. Faced with an urgent need to reach Mr. Lassiter in a potential life-threatening condition, Mr. Scardine quickly ascended the slope and assessed the state of Mr. Lassiter. He provided aid and comfort and rapidly constructed a mechanical advantage system to release the climber from the rope and transfer him to Mr. Collins' rope. Mr. Collins quickly assessed the top of the slope to construct an independent rescue rope and rappelled to Mr. Lassiter. He transferred him to the rescue rope and safely rappelled them both to the ground while controlling the climbing equipment and keeping Mr. Lassiter in a secure position. Mr. Collins and Mr. Scardine's actions resulted in the successful and swift rescue of the climber, who required immediate emergency medical treatment. It was later learned that Mr. Lassiter suffered cardiac arrest in the ambulance when en route to the hospital. A helicopter was called, and he was subsequently airlifted to the hospital, where he immediately underwent successful heart surgery. The staff at the hospital credited the fast response time as a major reason why they were able to save Mr. Lassiter. Mr. Collins pioneered the use of the many techniques currently employed in the Caltrans climbing program and is regarded by his peers as a leader and innovator who provides continuous improvement to the program. Mr. Scardine is considered the foremost technical expert in the Caltrans climbing program, who provides exceptional guidance and mentorship to students and other instructors. Therefore, the state of California takes great pride in presenting the Silver Medal of Valor to California Department of Transportation Maintenance Area Superintendent Cody Collins and Transportation Engineering Technician Jeffrey Scardine for their acts of heroism, extending above and beyond the call of normal duty. Please give them a hand. Yeah, both of them. Okay? By the way, I'm going to warn everybody, you're going to get tired of hearing my voice. We got like 16 of the 23, I believe, quite a few. So a lot from the Calsta team. Very proud of that. Citation for a heroic service performed by Brian Rubicavo and Jason Lofton, Caltrans landscape maintenance workers, California Department of Transportation. During the night of December 19, 2021, Caltrans landscape maintenance worker Brian Rubicava and Jason Lofton were checking for rocks in the roadway, guardrail damage, and down signs following a winter storm. Around 11:30 p.m., while traveling on State Route 263, they noticed what appeared to be tire tracks leading off the roadway, and they stopped to investigate. Mr. Lofton saw vehicle lights down the side of the embankment and heard someone calling for help. He went over the steep embankment to investigate while Mr. Rubicava turned on their truck flashes and radio dispatch for help. Mr. Lofton located a man in a large bush below the vehicle and a woman hanging onto the door of the vehicle, both freezing and in pain from what appeared to be major injuries. Mr. Rubicava and Mr. Lofton removed their jackets and covered the victims in an effort to keep them warm. Among the blood, gas, and debris from the wreckage, Mr. Lofton and Mr. Rubicava provided aid to the victims until emergency personnel arrived. Mr. Rubicava then began removing brush, loose rocks, and material so emergency crews could maneuver down the embankment. Due to extremely cold temperatures, the remote location of the incident, and serious injuries, both victims would likely have not survived had it not been for Mr. Rubicava and Mr. Lofton's situational awareness, attentiveness, and selfless actions performed at personal risk to their safety. Therefore, the state of California takes great pride in presenting the Silver Medal of Valor to California Department of Transportation landscape maintenance worker Brian Rubicava and Jason Lofton for their acts of heroism extending above and beyond the normal call of duty. Congratulations. Okay. I just want to add that the heroic actions of Mr. Brian Rubicava and Mr. Jason Lofton helped save the life of Mr. Christopher Brian Page. Mr. Page has joined us today to honor Mr. Rubicava and Mr. Lofton. Mr. Page, would you please stand? Mr. Page, where are you? Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks for being here, Mr. Page. Yeah, thank you very much. And I want to also recognize right before on the prior recognition from Mr. Collins and Mr. Scardine, they helped to save the life of Mr. Kevin Lassiter, as I mentioned. Mr. Lassiter has also joined us today to honor Mr. Collins and Mr. Scardine. Mr. Lassiter, where are you? Are you in the room? Is he not here? Okay, he's probably didn't make it, but we thought he may have a chance to make it as well. Citation, continuing on, citation for heroic service performed by Jeremy Maruvio and Scott Davidson and Trevor Gibson, Caltrans Equipment Operator 2s from the California Department of Transportation. On the night of December 26, 2021, Caltrans Equipment Operator 2, Scott Davidson, was on storm patrol driving on South Highway 3 in Trinity County through heavy snowfall. Despite limited visibility, he noticed tire tracks going off over an embankment. Mr. Davidson exited his vehicle to further investigate and located a truck with a young male driver pinned inside. He immediately notified dispatch and proceeded to break the passenger window to gain access to the young man who was freezing and going in and out of consciousness. Mr. Davidson covered him with his own clothes, talked to the young man to keep him alert, and he was not sure of the extent of his injuries. A short time later, Caltrans equipment operator 2, Trevor Gibson, and Jeremy Moravio arrived on the scene to help. The three took turns aiding the young man and providing what clothing they could to keep him warm, while also clearing snow and removing portions of the vehicle to clear a path for emergency personnel. After a period of time, the team at CAL FIRE personnel arrived, and Mr. Davidson suggested that they attach a chain from his 4-yard vehicle to the crashed vehicle to secure it so that CAL FIRE could safely extract the driver. They then deployed flares while Mr. Gibson and Mr. Moravio shoveled steps out to help the first responders. They also helped the fire crew with any tools and supplies needed, and once the injured driver was extracted, they assisted the first responders with getting him up the embankment and safely into the ambulance. Mr. Gibson proceeded to plow the snow off the road so the ambulance could make it out safely. Due to extreme cold temperatures, remote locations, and injuries sustained, the young man likely would not have survived had it not been for their attentiveness and selfless actions performed by Mr. Davidson, Mr. Gibson, and Mr. Moravio. Adding to their selflessness, none of the three, this is interesting, and I think this speaks to what our public servants sometimes do. None of the three reported their heroic acts to their supervisors. A letter to Caltrans management was received from the local CAL FIRE captain commending them for their valiant efforts. Therefore, the state of California takes great pride in presenting the Silver Medal of Valor to California Department of Transportation Equipment Operator 2's Scott Davidson, Trevor Gibson, Jeremy Moravio for their acts of heroism, extending above and beyond the normal call of duty. Unfortunately, Mr. Gibson could not join us for the ceremony today, but the two gentlemen here today, please give them a hand for their service. Citation for a heroic service performed by Robert Hernandez, Equipment Operator 2, and Nicholas Macias, Highway Maintenance Worker, California Department of Transportation. On the morning of August 3, 2022, Equipment Operator 2 Robert Hernandez and Highway Maintenance Worker Nicholas Macias were on duty when they noticed a sedan had crashed into a tree while exiting Highway 99. Flames were emitting from its engine compartment. The two skillfully maneuvered their Caltrans vehicle up the off-ramp, blocked the lane, and started traffic control to protect the crashed vehicle and pedestrians. Noticing the driver was still in the vehicle and recognizing the danger the fire posed to the driver, citizens on foot, and other motorists, Mr. Macias quickly retrieved a fire extinguisher, ran towards the crash, and successfully extinguished the fire before the sedan was fully engulfed, while Mr. Hernandez maintained traffic control and kept people safely back. With the fire successfully extinguished, the trapped and injured driver was safely extracted. Facing great personal risk, the actions of Mr. Macias and Mr. Hernandez helped save the life of the injured driver and prevented potential injuries to pedestrians and other motorists. Therefore, the state of California takes great pride in presenting the Silver Medal of Valor to the California Department of Transportation Equipment Operator 2, Robert Hernandez, and Highway Maintenance Worker Nicholas Macias for their acts of heroism, extending above and beyond the normal call of duty. Please give them both a hand. Thank you both for your heroic service. Citation for a heroic service performed by William S. Miller, highway maintenance worker, California Department of Transportation. Yeah, you can give him a hand even before. On the morning of January 21, 2020, around 1:30 a.m., highway maintenance worker William Miller was operating the cone truck as an early warner for a sweeping operation on Highway 267. The early warner serves as an advance alert for approaching traffic. While Mr. Miller was parked on a southbound shoulder with his warning lights on and a sign indicating there was a sweeping crew ahead, he observed two vehicles approaching from the north. After the first vehicle passed by Mr. Miller, he felt an impact from the second vehicle striking the rear of his truck. Although in shock, Mr. Miller was able to notify dispatch about the incident. Mr. Miller exited his truck and noticed both his truck and the vehicle were on fire. In response, he grabbed the fire extinguisher from his truck and attempted to extinguish the flames. A female driver exited the other vehicle, and Mr. Miller saw that she was stumbling and appeared dazed. As Mr. Miller approached the woman, he noticed she was flattering and standing in fuel that was leaking from the cone truck's ruptured fuel tank. At this moment, flames engulfed both vehicles, and Mr. Miller quickly pulled the woman from the burning vehicle to a safe distance, saving her from potential injuries. Therefore, the state of California takes great pride in presenting the Silver Medal of Valor to the California Department of Transportation highway maintenance worker William S. Miller for his acts of heroism extended beyond the call of duty. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Citation for a heroic act performed by Roberto Lopez, Caltrans Equipment Operator 2, California Department of Transportation. While returning to the Caltrans Boulevard maintenance station around 11:30 a.m. on May 26, 2022, Caltrans employee Dusek Urbeck had an accident involving a cargo truck and a pull broom and ended up at the bottom of a ravine in the center median of Interstate 8. Caltrans Equipment Operator 2 Roberto Lopez was following behind Mr. Urbeck and witnessed the accident. The truck and pull broom immediately caught fire. Without hesitation, Mr. Lopez rushed down the ravine to help. Mr. Urbeck was trapped inside the truck with both doors jammed, surrounded by smoke and flames. Mr. Lopez was finally able to pull Mr. Urbeck out of the truck through the driver's side window. Together, they crawled over rocks and boulders to a safe distance away from the fire as the truck became fully engulfed directly behind them. Mr. Lopez then relentlessly continued to crawl and climb while pulling Mr. Urbeck to safety up the ravine. They finally reached the top with the help of two unknown individuals for the last few feet. Mr. Lopez remained with Mr. Urbeck until emergency personnel arrived. Therefore, the state of California takes great pride in presenting the Gold Medal of Valor to California Department of Transportation Equipment Operator 2, Roberto Lopez, for his extraordinary acts of heroism, extending far beyond below the normal call of duty. Thank you, Director Tavares. This concludes the Caltrans citation.
Hearing all those stories, it was so moving, and I can't help sitting there listening to all this and just sharing the moment as each of the secretaries was presenting the story. I feel a sense of pride of being in the public service and sense of just honor being amongst you all and our awardees, and as Secretary Misaki mentioned, that for every single one of you who have not only nominated them to receive this recognition, as well as putting this program. So if you would join me to please once again congratulate to our awardees, thank all of the folks that are in the public service, and our presenters who are joining us in presenting this very well-deserved recognition to all of our awardees.